Chicago, how's it going? Some of us are more caffeinated than others. If you are interested in learning some research-backed ways to motivate employees beyond paying them more money, please give me a big, enthusiastic woo on the count of 3, 2, 1. Woo! Amazing. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Brie Harvey, head of market research and community for Achievers. I work with the research arm of our business, which conducts primary research around workforce trends and how organizations can build high-performing, people-centric cultures, which is what we're talking about today, and something I'm really passionate about, because early in my career, I worked at a place that was so toxic that every Sunday for years, I would think about work and I would feel physically ill. Has anyone ever been visited by the Sunday scaries? It's the opposite of life-giving. By the time I finally quit, I was so burnt out that I spent the next 2 years and 4 months living out of that backpack, contemplating what would be worse, going back to corporate America or becoming an influencer. My parents were so worried. If someone had told me back then that one day I would become one of those people who gets voted by their peers multiple times as the most likely to not shut up about work at happy hour, I don't think I would have been able to comprehend it. But here I am, approaching almost 10 years with Achievers. Thank you. I'm like, come on, that's like the modern day equivalent of like 30. And I know firsthand that when leaders like you get this right and figure out how to create the conditions so that more people feel like they matter and like the work that they're doing matters, it's transformative, not just for the business, but for the overall quality of actual people's lives. However, if you follow Gartner's hype cycle for HR technology, since the pandemic, you would have seen recognition software go from where AI is now at the peak of expectations and plummet to what they call the trough of disillusionment. And despite the fact that employers spend collectively millions of dollars on rewards each year, only about half of employees feel appreciated. Does anyone here have employees who feel underappreciated? If you have the sense that your investments in recognition aren't moving the needle on strategic outcomes, you're not alone. The theory-practice gap describes the disconnect that can occur when research is applied into the real world and the results don't quite match up. We are intimately familiar with this disconnect as it relates to recognition because over the last 2 decades, we have designed and implemented over 600 online recognition programs for some of the world's largest, most complex organizations. And we have been able to analyze literally millions of data points to understand what best-in-class programs do differently at different growth stages. We use a change management framework called Crawl, Walk, Run, which acknowledges that changing the collective mindset and behaviors of a group of people is similar to constructing a building. It doesn't happen overnight, but once you have the right resources, alignment, and people in place, the blueprint for success is actually pretty well established. Over the years, we've developed a playbook of best practices, and we know that when an organization has the conditions in place to follow all or even most of these, those reliably end up being our happiest, best performing customers. And conversely, when things fall flat, which sometimes they do, we can pretty much always trace it back to missed opportunities from this list. These themes are also underscored by our research with the Achievers Workforce Institute in our annual State of Recognition report, which digs into the top 5 traits of an effective recognition program. Today, we're going to be double-clicking on 3 of them, starting with the importance of strategically measuring success. When a customer is in a crawl or a walk phase because recognition is still new, typically we're looking at success in terms of usage metrics and employee listening inputs. We want to know where appreciation levels are low so we know where to focus. But once a customer has reached full maturation and they're in a running stance, we'll continue to monitor program usage, but we'll start to look for ways that we can connect recognition back to things that link back to the dollars and cents